been really exciting. And what has just made me so happy is to see our students, they are actually excited and they are writing and they're sending me these word counts with these stories that they're really
Oh,
passionate
cool.
about. And then I am able to go through and give them some really solid feedback because the word count that they're doing, I base the amount of feedback that I give back to them. I give them one paragraph or one, explanation per page that they've sent me. And so based on that, it's actually a really good ratio. Sometimes I do two. So sometimes I do a little bit more, but at minimum one per page. And it's this really exciting ratio where I get to see that I am giving them really solid, tangible kind of feedback that they can then go and implement. And they're already discussing, "Ooh, thank you so much for this feedback. I now know where I'm going with this. Can I send it back to you later?" And I can see that they're really engaged, that they're really excited. And I'm just so grateful that I can also see I'm being helpful. I'm actually able to give them feedback that they can implement that is really going to build up their story.
That's fantastic. What were the lessons and what was the theme for this past month that we just finished?
The first month was backstories and bombshells, but more specifically, or no, more broadly, it was character work. So we're telling you how to make a really strong, nuanced, multi-dimensional character who has fears, who has desires, who has flaws, who has things that are wonderful about them, just how to round them out, each character, all of them, and their relationships so that the story feels more real to actual life.
Nice. What's been, the class is still small so far, but over the last couple of weeks, what's been the funnest reply or response you received, if any?
I was really excited about the response that was like, "Can I send this back to you again later?" It was very much just, oh my goodness, I can see progress as it's happening. That student was able
Amazing.
to see the progress and be like, "Okay, now let's do it again. Do it again, do it again." That's kind of what it sounded like to my ears. So that was really, really lovely.
Nice. And then this next month, what's coming up next?
The next month, we're getting started on plot. This is going to be the trifecta of months because plot is just so broad, not only because it is the backbone and literally the part of the story that makes up the most, but it's also the one that's less hard to that is harder to summarize or generalize. So for a character, you have a character and you have multiple characters, but because they're all people, you can kind of apply the same things across the entire story. It's still just the one person across the entire story. But with plot, there's so many beats and parts. There's like, okay, you have the beginning, you have the middle, you have the end, and each one has different dynamics of how to make it as strong as possible. It's so much more dynamic. And so we're going to split that up into 3 months and show you how then to not only just make like a plot, not just a subsurface plot of, oh, this happened, then this happened, then this, blah, 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 how to actually interweave the character into that. That's why we started with characters and then we're moving to plot. You interweave the characters with that, and you get to the end with just this really cohesive, this really just, when you get to the end of the story and you're like, "Ooh, that felt good." It just all came together. That's what we're going to teach you over the next 3 months.
That sounds like that's going to be so much fun. You and I are having a blast recording the lessons,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm stoked that the students are themselves enjoying and actually getting stuff out of it, actually learning and making progress in their writing. Again, what are the goals that we invite and walk people through, and then how do you help them meet their goals?
So our goal is to help you write an entire novel by the end of this class. So it's a year-long class, so by the end of the year. And the way that we do that is we give you personalized writing plans. So at the beginning of the year, I'm like, okay, what are you writing, a novel, or are you writing an anthology of short stories? Or, I give you the option to write something else. It's not like I'm your drill sergeant, like you have to do, of course not. But I ask what your goal is for the end of the year. Most of the time, in our case, all of the students so far, it's to write a novel. And then I give you a writing plan. Okay, here's how many words you're going to write a day. Here's how many you can send to me. And we want you in this class to not only finish writing a novel, and then not only to finish writing a solid draft of a novel, but we want to help you to actually grow in knowing how to be a writer on your own. Because I suppose in one instance, you could kind of take this class for every novel if you wanted to, just, which honestly is not like a terrible idea. Like I can see that happening where it's like, okay, I have somebody who's constantly giving me feedback. I have someone who's constantly like encouraging me to make my word count every week, and it's just kind of like a what's the word, when you have someone else who's helping you.
Like a
And
coaching
yeah,
program.
exactly, a coaching program. Accountability, that's the word I was looking for. So You could do that, but you don't have to, because by the end of this class, not only will we have walked you through this specific novel, but we will have taught you how to think like a writer who writes a lot of novels and who gets the dynamics of character, who gets the dynamics of plot and world building and the whole shebang. So that you will not only know the things, like the facts, but you also will have practiced enough and listened to us kind of talk about plot and structure and character and all that craftsmanship in a way where it's not just a numerical thing, but there's also that je ne sais quoi of I've practiced, I've played with it, and I just kind of, I have a little bit of my heartstrings and my gut kind of showing me where to go, because of course I know the craft, because there are like pieces of the craft that just 99 if not 100% of the time just work better.
Yeah, yeah.
But then we all will have taught you how to think that way independently, how to get, your body involved. Maybe you decide to write on a whiteboard or a sheet of paper. You go for a run and you think about it, and you're playing with your characters as you're cooking dinner, and you're thinking about, maybe this connection would be better. I could plant this plot plant. That's what I call them. That's what I was taught earlier in the story this way, as you're gardening or whatever. I'm going to teach you how to be a writer and not just how to write.
Oh, that's interesting. What's been your experience as you're crafting the first couple of lesson plans for the first class? What has that experience been like, and what's been their response?
It's been a blast constructing them. I mean, it's very fun, very relaxed. It's not too complicated. What I really, really love about this school is that it is simple yet powerful. It is impactful. It's not an overcomplication of multiple classes and multiple readings and very specific assignments. It is very much just, okay, hey, we're going to sit down. We're going to chat for 30 minutes to an hour about our experiences in actually having written these books. We're going to give you examples from other books that you probably have heard of, so that then you can just go practice it. And then by practicing it and having learned through osmosis from our discussions, which are very kind of lighthearted, it's very fun, and from
With
the
lots of
books,
examples and movie references, hopefully.
yes, exactly. And that's part of what makes it so fun. It's like, oh, I know that, I get it. And it also then makes it click in your mind because you know that story, and it's like, oh, that's how that book did it so well. That's why I like that book. That then all combined, you're learning nearly by osmosis. It's like a mixture of osmosis and practice, and just like, getting your hands dirty. Let's try it. Let's go for it. And what I really love is that it's really low pressure. It's not like school. It's not like an academic thing where you're getting graded and you have to worry about, oh, does the teacher want me to do this? Did I succeed well enough in that? I have to get through all these readings in a certain time limit. And it's like, no, relax. Here we're teaching you. And I tell all my students, whatever word count you send me, if you send me 250 words by the end of the week, I'll give you feedback on that. If you give me, I kid you not, 70 pages, that was one of my students first week, 70 pages, I will
For
give
real,
you
this in month one, someone sent you 70 pages.
Yes. Now, because it was month one, I gave them kind of like I was like, all right, if you have anything written before here, just send it all to me. That way we can just keep moving forward. So well, I don't know, maybe there will be a student who sends me another 70 pages in a week. But yeah, just send it to me. If you're feeling it, great, bring it over. If you're having a hard week, all right, let's talk about it. That's okay. Sometimes you just have one of those weeks and you only write 250 words and you get feedback on those 250 words, and then you start fresh next week.
Every month, I think there's a meetup and a get together.
Yes.
How did that go this month?
We have not done it yet this month. It's going to be either this week or next week, because we wanted to find a date that was really going to work for everybody. Now, as the class continues to grow, I know we're not going to be able to accommodate everybody all the time, but where we're at right now, I think we can find a day that can accommodate everybody. And so I sent out a little questionnaire. They gave me their feedback about when would be a good time. And unfortunately, last week was a little slow because I was under the weather and woozy for like 4 days out of the week. So it was a little slow that week when I intended to get the date out and everything, but we're back at it now, and we're gonna have it in the next 2 weeks.